Right, hi Terry. Thank you for agreeing to talk to us about living with autism. And I'm going to kind of have a few questions for you as a prompt, and then you can answer them and elaborate as you want. So, what age were you diagnosed with autism?
At the age of 47.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did that make you feel at that age being diagnosed?
Well, I thought I thought it should have been obviously diagnosed. I thought my condition should have been diagnosed a lot earlier than when it actually was. Some what I'm saying is it should have been diagnosed a lot earlier. Why is it taken to now?
Yeah.
From to find out about it,
Okay.
and I think that's probably one of the ridiculous things about it.
Yeah.
All,
Yeah. And so your time at school, I mean, not wanting to be rude, it was quite a long time ago, wasn't it? But
yeah.
What was your experience like at school?
Well, yeah, I was a bit slow at learning things, and like I say, I could spell some words, and some words I couldn't. I had problems with maths, so I couldn't really do all that, and they didn't really help me a lot with that one.
Okay. And how was like mixing with other children? Did you have lots of friends, or did you find the mixing with other people difficult?
I probably had I don't know. Well, it can be difficult. A type of school environment. It depends what school it. Obviously, it depends what school it is. But I probably had a few friends. But even one of the teachers said I had problems mixing with people.
Okay.
Wish I'd would have made more friends there.
Yeah. So you had difficulties with friendships and interacting with people. And how did you find like the noise of the other children and those kind of things? Did you have any kind of sensory difficulties at school?
I'll probably say no, not really with that one.
Okay.
But again, there are other places that are quite noisy, and I do have problems with the sounds and people around me and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And to be, when you were at school was like 40 years ago, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So do you think people knew much about autism at that time, and that may be why you weren't diagnosed?
That's it. I could say that. They should have some. So they should have an autism specialist in school. So it's like with me, they knew something was wrong with me, the teachers, but they said, "Oh, I'll just get better."
Okay.
I did. Meanwhile, my dad went to the headmaster, and I don't know what happened then, but the teacher said, "Oh, it's just one of those things. He'll get better." And the problems I had at school was I was looking outside a lot, and I wasn't concentrating on my work very much.
So, do you think you were distracted visually, kind of by the outside world, and not listening? Because listening sometimes can be difficult, can't it? Because you might not have realised you were distracted by sounds and that.
Yeah.
I'd have a job to remember my school years, mind you. I'm a lot older.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so and when you were diagnosed not that long ago, then did anybody ever explain autism to you?
No, they didn't really.
Okay, you've never had anybody explain?
Not really. No, not that I know of. They just said, "Oh, you probably got that." I went to the doctors first, and I've seen several psychiatrists. I might have had depression and suffered anxiety dealing with those things, and I saw a doctor as well. And I actually had to see another psychiatrist to, and she said, "Oh, I've got Asperger's syndrome." Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was diagnosed by a psychiatrist. Yeah.
Okay. And so when you left school, what happened? What did you do when you left school? Did you go to work, or was that difficult?
When I was over Kent, I'm getting still on that sort of side of it. Obviously we moved over here, it was about probably 1979, actually.
Yeah, so 40 years ago more.
Yeah.
So did you go to work, or did you go to college, or what did you
well, I worked at Anglian Windows for not more than 2 years. No, before I was over here, I'd work experience in Woolworths, actually.
Oh, great.
In Slough. And then I think, before that I went to Windsor College. Then I had work experience in Wolves. Then I've done a youth opportunities program. Then after that, I worked in a sheltered workshop for disabled people, obviously packing things and making things.
I knew you'd done something,
And I even got to have a ride in the go-karts. They used to actually make their own go-karts.
Right.
I used to have a ride of them outside in the yard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would love that.
Yeah.
The soapbox derby. Do you know about?
Oh yeah, I've watched that dreadful stuff. I always watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds really good fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So okay, and then how old were you? Because you live on your own now, don't you?
Yeah.
How old were you when you left home living with your parents?
Oh, then that must have been, that was about 2012, actually.
Okay. And is that a good thing that you now live on your own, or what's really good about living on your own?
Well, I think you've got your own independence for a start, but obviously you've got to learn to do all the tasks you're provided with, which somehow I managed to do anyway. So just about managing everything.
Yeah, because you don't have any support, I think, do you at all? You very much, you do your own cooking, you do your own shopping. And
I do. Well, I did have a social worker, but when I was funny enough, I was trying to get some volunteering roles, but she said, "Oh, there's not really nothing around it. It's like on the verge of somewhere like High Wycombe, Aylesbury, that those areas really."
Yeah. And what's the worst thing about not living at home? Is there something that's really bad about what you miss?
Oh, what, not living with the others, I suppose. I think you got to go to the busy shops yourself. That's the problem,
right?
But I somehow manage all of that.
Yeah.
But it can be hard because you know, like your mum and dad used to pay for everything, and you didn't really have to do much. I used to get everything for me. Whereas now that does not happen anymore. I have to get it all myself, and then it's trying to fit appointments in. I once went to appointment must have been Heatherwood Hospital, and I got totally lost.
Okay.
I didn't make it there.
Okay.
I just went somewhere else, and then of course got back here, and the hospital. See, it's problems like that. Hospital rang me up and said, "Oh, what time are you coming?" I actually rang them up and I said, "I'll be here about 3 o'clock or what have you." And then I sort of missed my connection bus to get there, and it just all went wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't make it there at all, you know.
What was the difficulty? Was that planning the trip, knowing where you had to go? Was it having to think about so many things, or the anxiety? Are you able to tell me what made that so difficult?
What might be that I only left about an hour from here to get to Wales. I probably should have had more time, but it's because it was a completely strange area.
Yeah.
I didn't really
know
didn't
it.
know really,
Yeah.
I didn't really know it that
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And that's how it just went all wrong. I should have got off when the driver said, oh, it's here. And for some reason, I don't know if it's anxiety, I think it could have been.
Yeah.
And I just went past me stop and ended up coming back home and had to make another appointment to go there. My parents then had to take me there.
Yeah. So it's like the unknown journeys, places you haven't been before that you find difficult, isn't it? Because you used to get the bus to High Wycombe.
Yeah. I mean, that was easy and easy enough.
Yeah, because you've done it a lot of times, so
Yeah.
that made it easier.
But when it's something you've got to do when it's something you've got to do one time, you've never been there before, it can be quite difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you able to research like buses and trains, or is that something you find difficult to look up to know what to do?
Sometimes I might do, it's knowing what times they leave and are you going to get there on time? That's the biggest problem, isn't it?
Yeah. Would you struggle if the bus was late, if it wasn't on time?
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, I think I remember you coming to High Wycombe and the bus wasn't on. That caused you quite a lot of distress, didn't it? Yeah, which is fine, because that's part of your autism, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, it's those kind of things that people need to know about, isn't it? Okay. And what things do you find difficult to do now? What other difficulties have you had that you may want to talk about?
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know. I sometimes think about my future. What am I going to probably do? Probably towards the end of this year, or what am I going to do next year? I mean, I need to get my routines together a bit more at home, which I'm doing now anyway. It's just a lot of time I hadn't got the time to sort things out, because I've had quite a lot going on. I go to hospital for a hernia operation.
Right.
Then, of course, I had to go to Hevel, but I just told you, for something else.
Yeah.
And what else? And I'm going over my mum and dad to see them over Hampshire probably 6 times a year.
Yeah.
And of course, I had to sort something out with my bank. I placed an online order, and they said they hadn't got it. So I sent them loads of emails, and I had to end up going to my bank, to sort all that out. So all those things, they take up a lot of time. And then the other day, of course, my laptop went wrong, so I had to go out with my brother and buy a new one.
Yeah, and that's a lot of change taking place, isn't it? A lot of different things happening that you find really difficult. Yeah, that's really difficult. And I think you said to me you wanted to talk about the difficulties of transport. Was that something you wanted to talk about?
I don't know who sort of told you that, or whether or something you just thought up. I mean, in that case, it was like sort of going to hospital and Ascot. That was one of my biggest problems, transport.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Have you got any ideas what could help improve that?
Well, no, but obviously I think they charge money. There are these mini buses similar to, I don't know, round and about, that probably can take you to places that you can't get to. So might be an idea that we probably look at something like that next time.
Right, okay. So I think you attended some course or something at Langley College.
There was a couple. There was one at Langley College, which my dad used to take me to, and I went there for a couple of hours, probably once every week, once every month for 6 months, and it's quite good. You learn how to be friends with people, how to greet people, how to not greet people, what to say to people, what you shouldn't say to people, and how you feel about one another, what your interests are, and just generally you're, I don't know why I can say it really. You're,
I think, was it run by the National Autistic Society?
oh yeah, that's it.
Was
Yeah.
it called Socialise?
Oh, so, yeah,
Yeah.
socialise. That's right. And you are, and they show you videos of actually people meeting people in different places, which I found quite interesting. Now the other people interact with one another.
Yeah. And on that subject, how do you find like going to family parties, if you have family parties, weddings and things? Do you find that difficult, or do you enjoy those social gatherings?
I don't. Well, I don't. I don't. I don't find those sort of things all that. What? Just trying to think about how to say it really. Yeah, I don't. No, I don't. Yeah, I do find those sort of situations difficult when I go there. Do I look, properly dressed or something? Am I smart enough? I think that's what sometimes comes to mind.
Yeah.
And I went to one not last year, and I don't know if there's about 60 odd people there. And I knew my brothers and all that. And I did, and I think I did kind of, thought I looked a bit out of place in that situation. Okay. Although I was dancing in the end to the music, which I quite enjoyed, I think it can be a little bit overwhelming, or it might be, sort of like over sensory sort of thing, because you're in this big place with loads of people talking to one another, and you can't say you can't leave. You can't really, sort of say, oh, can I leave, because you've only just got there. So you've got to stay there a while before you can leave, sort of things. Yeah. Whether you enjoy it, it's just whether you enjoy it or not, really.
And sometimes leaving is difficult, isn't it? Because like you say, you're fearful of appearing rude because people don't understand your condition.
Yeah.
So that makes it really hard, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't that? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you went to the college and you did that, and that's how you gained. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And apart from that, I went to Braywick Maidenhead, which I had some cookery lessons there, so which I found quite interesting. So
okay,
yeah.
Has that enabled you to cook at home or not? Really, were you able to transfer the skills from college to home, or was that something that was difficult?
No, although they are healthy meals, I still cook my own meals. I had a nice meal last night, some chicken, broccoli, and cauliflower, and parsnips, and with chicken gravy and all that. So I do good stuff like that, chicken fillets, and I try and get, the healthy balanced meals, from Tesco's or wherever. So I try and be as healthy as I can possibly be.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds very good anyway. And how long was the cookery course? Can you remember? Or
well, it was the same. Yeah, it's probably the same length as the other course. The socialised course. Probably, I think it's once every week for 6 months.
Okay. Well, that's quite a lot of cooking, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I know some autistic people find it hard to think through all the processes that they need to do when cooking. So, boil the water, put the egg in, how long's the egg boil for, remembering to lift it out, remembering to set the timer. I mean, that's obviously not something you struggle with, but that it is what other people struggle with. So again, you're just showing how different everybody on the autistic spectrum are. So, okay. And was there anything else that you kind of wanted to share with us?
Just trying to think. Well, I did a business administration course, so I just got a certificate for that. I'm trying to think how long I did that. Probably about 6 months I did that
Okay.
for, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'd really like to do some volunteer work at present, but obviously there's no opportunities because you live a little way out from a main town, isn't it? That's what
Yeah.
that's what one of your difficulties is. However, from what you say, maintaining and looking after the home is quite enough for you,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, do they, I mean, I've got a brother and he actually probably won't go into great detail because it's all on here. So I have to be careful what I say, really. But I've got an actual brother. I don't know if I should say his name or not, should I? Or
No,
not?
just leave
No,
that.
just
We'll cut that bit out. Yeah.
yeah. I've got a brother, and he obviously lives Surrey way, Hartley that way, and
Right.
he actually looks after 2 people on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
So I don't know if he's told you that, but
Yeah, I have spoken to him. There's mentoring, doesn't
oh
it?
yeah, mentoring.
Yeah.
He's quite good at. But one of them sort of is one might be on computer games too much, and I think he's turning up a bit late at school, and he might have to say, well, I might have to teach someone else instead,
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Okay. And do you have any special interest in, you used to be quite interested, am I right in remembering racing cars or the British Grand Prix? Have I got that wrong, Terry?
Oh, what I can remember a Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull,
Yeah,
and all that,
okay.
and all the drivers, and yeah, well, probably the teams they all race for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm interested in that. Anything really, sort of flying,
Yeah.
well, astronomy, technology, science.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, I say the biggest thing, I say the biggest thing, biggest thing I'm interested in at the moment is I actually went to a place with my brother down at Covent Garden. It was this Space Odyssey tour with Brian Cox.
Oh, wow.
And I went there and it had this big screen. Yeah, it was just at Covent Garden. It showed you how the universe began. I've actually got a T-shirt with it all on today, actually.
Right.
Funny enough. But yeah, it shows you how it all started. And I actually demonstrated to my dad or my family how the universe actually works. So I can give you a good example.
Yeah.
So yeah, so 14.5 billion years ago, there was like a big bang or something they called a cosmic fireball, which is how the universe began. And then you had all the stars, then you had all the planets, stars and galaxies formed straight afterwards. It probably only happened for about, I don't know, so many seconds, they reckon. And that's how our universe came into beginning.
Right.
So it's from the start. So it's kind of like if you had and then you had and then you had inflation, the background radiation afterwards, which came from the Big Bang and all the stars, galaxies, and all that. And then of course you had all the planets formed, and I gave. It's funny. I gave my dad an example, or my brother an example. Imagine it's like this. If you had a small helium balloon, you blow it up. The balloon then inflates. Then the balloon inflates to an enormous size. Then imagine that balloon. Imagine that balloon going right back to the big. Imagine the balloon going right back to the beginning again, like deflating and just becoming nothing. That's probably how our universe first started off as.
Wow. Well, that's really good explanation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. I was just thinking from what you said about being at school and that, do you obviously, am I right in thinking that you feel quite angry that your diagnosis wasn't picked up before you got to the
yeah. Most definitely, yeah. I think I am. There's nothing was done, so I suffered it right up to now.
Yeah,
and it was and it wasn't diagnosed, a lot earlier.
yeah.
No, that to me, I mean, how can you miss those things?
Yeah. And I think from what you've said, it sounds like mum and dad tried to do lots of things to get you help, but the education authority weren't really listening to them, because you said dad had appointments with people and things. So would a message be to parents to try and fight to get their children diagnosed if they thought their children may be struggling with different things?
Yes, that definitely.
Yeah, because I think sometimes parents aren't sure what to do. And so, again, because of the demands of schools and education authorities, sometimes people do say, let's wait. But I think your message is, please try and help the children, isn't it?
Well, yeah. So look how long I've suffered. I can't. Nothing holds me back doing this. I can't. If I was say work, what sort of job I want to do, I don't really exactly know. Really,
no. Sometimes it's hard to know if you haven't experienced things, isn't it? And but part of the autism is experiencing new things is difficult as well, so it's a bit of a difficult one, isn't it? So okay, so we talked about going to parties and that, Terry, but so what happens about, like, say you were to meet somebody, or you had to go to an appointment and you didn't know somebody or anything, how would that make you feel?
Well, it's just the thought of I suppose it'd be the same with other people with my condition. It'd be the thought of not knowing, what that person looks like, and when you go there, I mean, it could be anything like that.
Okay, so like, say you were having a new social worker. How would you get anxious about that, meeting a new person?
Well, I did meet a social worker not that long ago, and I did get a bit anxious about that.
And do they come to your house, or do you have to go somewhere new?
No, I had to go round to them. They did come to my place once, and we talked about various different things.
Okay. Okay. And so getting somewhere new is, how easy is that for you? Again, what are the difficulties with when you have to get yourself to a new venue?
Well, it's obviously, I think the number one thing is the time. What's the transport, and probably the second thing is probably the most important thing is, and probably the bit I probably don't like that much, is getting to that place on time. So
is the problem knowing how long it was going to take you to get there?
That's it.
And if you're going to have to wait to change a bus or a train or something, it's all those things that are difficult.
I mean, I did have that experience when I once got the train over to Wandover, Hampshire. I'd actually seen my parents over there, who took me an hour and 35 minutes. And it's when you're there, it's actually in your head when you're there, or in your mind, is this the right train? So I had to get another train, or a couple of other trains probably. And this is the thought of knowing, I'm on the right train. Am I going to get there, or am I going to be lost or something?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes you anxious and frightened.
It does.
Yeah. And again, meeting new people, how easy is that for you?
Well, it's not particularly easy, because obviously because obviously I don't know their personality. I don't know what they're like. So I suppose it's a bit unknown, really, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, just a little bit, isn't it? So although I think around locally with people you know, you might say hello to, but outside of the area where you live, do you find that more difficult? So when you used to come to group meetings in High Wycombe, would you have said hello to people walking from the bus to the group?
Oh no, but I think the answer is no, really.
Yeah. But you tend to say hello to people here where you live, do you? Yes, because you feel safe here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to say, Terry?
And of course, noisy place like noisy place like supermarkets, cinemas. Well, obviously don't like those things. Like I'll give you an example. If I'm saying if I say I'm in the supermarket and I'll just come, and if the self-service checkout goes wrong and I've paid for it, I get a bit anxious there. Because you have to wait for one of the staff to come over and put it all right. So I get very anxious with that. Or if I've just paid for something and I work out how much the things cost, and then you got all the noise over or tannoy or sound system, then you got people talking. I probably have to study my receipt 4 times for me to work out it I've spent the right amount. That's how bad it can be. And other times if it's quiet, I can just look at it a couple of times and work it out better.
And that's because you like to keep a track of your money and you make sure they're charging you the right amount.
That's what. So sometimes I've been probably caught out of my 40-odd reduced things, and it's charged me more. And I've had to ask for the assistant to come over and put those things right.
Okay, and all of that causes you anxiety.
Yeah.
And the cinema, what causes you anxiety in a cinema or
I think it's the loud noise. I went there with my sister once, and it's just the loud noise and the adverts and all of that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they have special cinema showings for autistic children, but they never do that for an adult.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, not that I've heard of anyway. Okay. Anything else you want to say, Terry? Or if you feel happy with everything that you wanted to share?
Yeah, just trying to think now.
Okay.
It's I think people with Asperger's syndrome and all that, they struggle with sort of colour coordination, something like that. Like if I was to wear something bright, and like you said at your High Wycombe classes, would they, and I sometimes have that problem myself. If I wear something bright, I think, is this right for me? And what will other people think?
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's actually called.
Right. Well, some people struggle visually with patterns and bright colours. And so people either don't like seeing other people wearing those bright colours, or they don't like wearing them themselves. A lot of people wear the same colour all the time, or they've got like 10 jumpers all the same, or 10 trousers all the same, because they like to wear the same things. People start to think they don't change their clothes, but they do, because they've got lots of them. So and I suppose some people are good at putting clothes together, regardless if you have autism or no, don't they? So if you're autistic or not. So I think that's kind of a broad thing, really. Okay, well, thank you, Terry.
That was fine. I don't know if I've got something else to add just before we go. I mean, just trying to figure out, there must be something. I know I watched the programme on autism about Chris Packham, and I actually did something on the TV. I don't know if it's by the BBC. It was televised, obviously, and they went into people's places and they just talked to people in with autism generally, and there was one mother, and I think she had a daughter, and I don't know, don't know if she got a bit upset that she had autism or something like that, or something similar like that, you know. And yes, I suppose, and there was a couple of children at school that they had it, and not like mine, they didn't know they had it.
No.
So yeah, I'm just trying. I'm sure, Charles, I'll probably leave here and I think, oh, there's something else I should have said.
Yeah, well,
oh yeah, there was. Not obviously, I've been to High Wycombe with you, Paul. Anyway, and I did quite enjoy my all those experiences I had there. So yeah. I mean, all the different people, and because all the different things they, you know, that they probably suffered with, you know, just like the condition that I've got, you know. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, of course, probably some of them left, or whether you've got actually new people attending there, or
yeah, well, we're not meeting in High Wycombe anymore at the moment, Terry, but we do have a lot of new members, especially attending on the Zoom meetings, and quite a few coming to the Aylesbury meetings. So we do have new people all the time. So you know, some people come and they find it really helpful just to share their experience and be with people who understand you, because nobody makes a fuss about what anybody does. You can get up and walk out at any time. You don't have to stay, and you can come at any time. You don't have to talk. You know, it's a very kind of relaxed atmosphere when you've plucked up the courage to come, isn't it?
So I think there was one other thing. We have I don't know, as if a thing that I've had is I think certain people have, don't know if it's rituals or routines. Like I used to make the tea for my mum and dad. Always used to do it precisely at 3:30, and they used to complain, said what, you know, where's this tea or whatever, and I always used to do it later than they would. Or, you know, I have rituals, I have times to do things, or I might choose, you know, different days to actually do those tasks. I was wondering if a lot of people with autism have those same sort of things.
Yeah,
you know?
A lot of people have rituals that are really important to them. So doing things at the same time or in a certain way. I think you mentioned the Chris Packham programme, didn't you?
Yeah.
And there was a gentleman on there, wasn't there, who he had the time to get to his football, time to every second, and time he left the house, time it would take him to ride to the bus station. I think that's like me. The amount of times I must look at my wristwatch, I think I lost count about it. But I think it's just one of those things with me. It's like, and that's another thing. If I'm somewhere else and I've got an appointment on the same day, I rigorously, what is the word? Rigorously keep checking my watch and think, oh, how long have I got left wherever I am to be at, say my next schedule or appointment with somebody else. You know? And that's part of the condition. And also, does that relieve your anxiety or does it increase your anxiety? So say when you're at home with mum and dad, if you couldn't make the tea at 3:30, did that make you more anxious, or did it?
Well, I think it did, because they always rely on me to do it, because they like me making the tea. They don't bother doing it. That's probably the thing. Yeah.
Okay. I think there's a lot of security in people doing the same thing, you know, isn't it? It's like there's a saying about somebody's got out of bed the wrong side.
Yeah.
You know, you have a bad day. So it's that kind of ritual thing. And if something goes wrong in that.
Yeah. I was saying, I was kind of watching a snooker player, and he said, oh, and they always question them after they're finished playing the game, sort of thing. And one of the blokes said, I had my ups and downs like me, and he said, I just take one day at a time, which I think I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay, Terry, well, thank you. Thank you very much. That's been really good.